Boy, Florida is producing some real bad parents. I keep getting so many of these stories out of Florida. It's like I want to put it on another state, but I really can't. Florida, y'all are taking the L again, or is it like this? I don't remember. It's one of these. Y'all are taking the L, a double L, for this story. But before I get into the details and talk about those two individuals that I might say something disparaging about, let me give you guys a disclaimer first. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So again, I'm getting this story from lawandcrime.com. I think the majority of my articles come from them. Thank you. I love lawandcrime.com. So, a mother and father are behind bars after their 3-year-old son with autism, another special needs child. Stop hurting our babies, man. Y'all are making a conscious decision to get pregnant and have children and then abuse the children. It's got to stop. We just need life in prison, period. Their 3-year-old son with autism was able to get out of their Florida apartment and later drowned in a pond. So they were paying no attention to this child at all, which is abuse. It happened just after 3 p.m. Saturday at an apartment complex in Sanford, about 20 miles north of Orlando. The parents, 39-year-old Lester Ortiz on the right-hand side of the screen. I don't know why he looked like Trick Daddy. Trick love the kids. He just looked like Thug Holiday. Man, 39 years old. That man don't look like he's 39. Does he look like he's 39? I guess so. I would have said maybe 49, but... And 37-year-old Barbara Ruiz on the left-hand side of the screen with those bags under her eyes, look like sandbags, are now facing aggravated manslaughter of a child charges in the death of their son by the name of Ethan Ortiz Ruiz, jail records show. A probable cause affidavit was obtained by Law and Crime, said Ortiz called 911 and told dispatchers the boy went missing from their home about 30 minutes prior. And what I want y'all to understand, maybe this was an accident. Maybe this was an accident, but the problem is there's been signs of them neglecting this child for a while, not paying attention to this child for a while. Ortiz told Sanford police officers searched for Ethan near the pond and other areas but couldn't find him. Officers noted Ortiz had a strong odor of fresh marijuana coming from his clothing, bloodshot eyes, and was sweating profusely. When the officer went inside the apartment to speak with Ruiz, she also had bloodshot eyes, and the entire residence smelled like freshly smoked marijuana. Ruiz said that in the bathroom around 2:40 p.m. while Ethan was in the living room, she said she heard the door open and close and asked her 15-year-old daughter to check the front door. The daughter checked the front door but didn't realize Ethan had gone out, the affidavit said. While still in the bathroom, Ortiz called her husband to ask him where Ethan was and said the boy wasn't with him. That's when Ortiz started looking for his son. Around 3:30 p.m., officers noticed or saw an unknown object that was floating in the pond behind Ortiz and Ruiz's apartment. Officers entered the pond and realized it was Ethan's body. He was rushed to a hospital where he was pronounced dead 40 minutes later. Ruiz and Ortiz said that Ethan got out of the apartment on at least 3 different occasions. 3 different occasions, and 2 of them, neighbors found the boy wandering around and brought him to the front office of the apartment complex. Because of the nature of the incident, officers called in the Florida Department of Children and Families to investigate. The parents both said that they have medical marijuana cards and smoke marijuana regularly. They were taken to James E. Polk Correctional Facility where they're being held with no bond. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let me know what you guys think about this, because I don't think there's any excuse, and no, I do not feel bad for them not having a bond and potentially facing life in prison. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Guys can always share these videos. Share them in your true crime favorite groups on Facebook or wherever you can find them. Share these videos. Hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, and let me know what you guys think. Here we go.
These two parents are facing charges in the death of their 3-year-old son. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm Marlisa Goldsmith. The little boy with autism was pulled from a pond in Sanford and that apartment complex. And Fox 35's Stephanie Buffamonte found out why the parents are facing such serious charges.
Both parents are facing charges of aggravated manslaughter of a child after their 3-year-old drowned in a pond over the weekend. Police officers say they believe the parents were high at the time that this happened. The mother was visibly upset in court today.
Bond in that case will be set at no bond.
Barbara Ruiz faced a judge just days after her 3-year-old son drowned in the pond behind her home.
You also are on probation, apparently for child abuse out of Volusia County.
This arrest comes as she was already on probation. According to court documents, she was convicted of child abuse earlier this year. The father, Lester Ortiz, also appearing in court from his hospital bed after
County.
This arrest comes as she was already on probation. According to court documents, she was convicted of child abuse earlier this year.
She was convicted of child abuse. These are bad parents, and the child ended up dead, which is why they are where they are now with no bond.
The father, Lester Ortiz, also appearing in court from his hospital bed after having some kind of medical episode during his arrest. This was the scene on Saturday afternoon as officers surrounded the complex looking for the little boy. Ortiz had called 911 and told officers his son with autism had been missing for about 30 minutes and they couldn't find him. When officers got there, they spotted something floating in the pond. Residents saw officers pull the child out of the water. He was rushed to the hospital where he died.
They saw the police outside by the front of the pond, and one of the police officers were crying.
When officers went inside the parents' apartment, they say it smelled like weed, and they both had bloodshot eyes.
It's negligent in their point for not tending to a kid, and you're getting high, you should leave your kid with somebody. You know, it's the parents are, it's unfortunate, but they're gonna have to pay for that.
An image from a neighbor during the attempted rescue Saturday of a 3-year-old found floating in a pond at a Sanford apartment complex. A child who had wandered away from his parents before.
The child in the previous occasion was found wading through that same retention pond.
Aggravated child abuse, manslaughter.
Now 37-year-old Barbara Ruiz and 39-year-old Lester Ortiz, who heard his charges are accused of being so negligent. 3-year-old Ethan Ortiz Ruiz is dead. A tragedy, according to police.
It's even more tragic when it could have been prevented, because these parents had knowledge that this 3-year-old knew how to get out of the apartment. It had happened on a number of occasions.
Sanford police were called to that same apartment complex back in March. The little boy was with a deputy who had been called by apartment management because he was found wandering alone. Saturday, the boy's parents told police Ethan had left the residence on 3 different occasions. And police were called Saturday because a 30-minute search didn't find him. He was found by cops who responded to the scene, but the toddler could not be saved. Officers reported Lester Ortiz had a strong odor of fresh marijuana coming from his clothing, and that he had bloodshot eyes and was sweating profusely, and that Barbara Ruiz also had bloodshot eyes, and that the entire residence had a strong odor of freshly smoked marijuana.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us here on West 2 News. I'm Luana Munoz. Tonight in Sanford, two parents are now facing charges of manslaughter after their toddler was pulled out of a pond. The 3-year-old was pronounced dead at the hospital just yesterday afternoon. Both of the parents have since been arrested in connection to this child's death. Now, West 2's Liv Johnson is joining us live this evening. And Liv, she spent some time out there in the apartment complex where this little boy was, or this child was found.
Luana, I can tell you every single person I spoke to that lives at that complex told me they did not sleep a wink last night. Many of them saw the toddler be taken out of the water and put onto a stretcher, and they're all just trying to figure out how this could have possibly happened. It's a moment Corey Sanger says you could have heard a pin drop outside of the Crosby Town Center apartments in Sanford.
They pulled up the child and threw him on a stretcher. We watched them perform CPR.
Residents of the complex watched first responders jump into this pond and pull out a 3-year-old toddler on Saturday afternoon. Investigators say the child, whose name is Ethan, was taken to the hospital where he died. Sanger says his initial heartbreak over the news quickly turned into frustration.
I'm infuriated. I'm not a father, but I couldn't imagine having my child, to leave my sight,
On Sunday, Sanford police arrested the child's parents, Barbara Ruiz and Lester Ortiz, for aggravated manslaughter of a child. According to the arrest report, Ortiz called police around 3:15 on Saturday and said Ethan, who has been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, had been missing for 30 minutes. Police say Ruiz told them she was in the bathroom when she heard the front door of the apartment open and close, but no one knew Ethan had left. According to the report, Ruiz and Ortiz told police they already searched for him outside and that he has left the residence at least 3 different times before. 2 of those times, he was brought to the front office by neighbors. One resident, who did not want to be on camera, told us her neighbors found the toddler wandering by the dumpsters a month ago.
They picked up that baby and it was just in diapers, and it's devastating.
She says as a mother, she doesn't understand how Ethan could have gotten out.
How does it happen when we have 2 doors and one of them have a safety lock, and it's way up high? So for a 2 or 3-year-old baby to just wander around, but it's a really devastating story, whether it's neglect or not, that was somebody's child.
Now, Ruiz is at the John Polk Correctional Facility while Ortiz was arrested, but then brought to the hospital for a health concern. Bond was set at $15,000. Live in Sanford, I'm Liv Johnson, West 2 News.
Right, Liv, thank you.
The fact that the mother had been convicted of child abuse prior and this happened, and they talk about they were smoking weed. I don't know what they were smoking, but they had to have been smoking something much, much more powerful, something much more potent than just some marijuana. They just flat out didn't care about this child at all. To have your child be found on multiple occasions, there were already red flags there. CPS, in a situation like that, I think it would have been suitable to come in and take that kid then and let this kid grow up in somebody else's household. But we lose the kid, and you're getting rid of 2 more idiots out of society. 2 more black people going to be locked up for the rest of their life, more than likely. But like I said, they definitely earned a life sentence. But let me know what you guys think about this story. Do y'all think they should get a life sentence? Do y'all truly think it was an accident? What do you think the outcome of this case is going to be? Do me a favor and please post a comment in the comment section and let me know what you think, okay? Thank you.